And when I say rock the world, you got to look at check this out. Uh, Hyde's been doing good. He's almost at 1,000 yard mark. Marquise Goodwin has blown up over the past few games. Targeted over 101 times a season, but has 54 reception for 934 yards. Only one TD. Beautiful long TD on the day his infant son passed away. Um, let's see. Kyle Jusic has become a favorite target of his. The defense is playing better because they're not on the field as much. But let's take a look at this. Who the Warriors have beat in this 5-game winning streak. They started out the season on a 9-game losing streak, losing to Carolina, Seattle, Rams, Arizona, Indianapolis, Washington, Dallas, Philly, and Arizona again. Okay. Then they came around, they beat New York for their first win. That was the win that Beathard got. Okay. Then you go on a bye week. So everybody thinks they're going to start Garoppolo week 13 again, or week 12 against the Seahawks, and they don't. But he does come in for one last play and like goes 2 for 2 and throws a touchdown. Okay. Then they begin the run with a win in Chicago, a barely win in Chicago, in which Garoppolo throws for 293 yards, 15-14, didn't throw for a touchdown, but I believe he threw a pick. Against Houston, Garoppolo really began to come into his own, threw for 334 yards. The Niners win 26-16 because the defense is rested, and the defense is able to dominate Houston, who is without their star quarterback. Who was it? Their star quarterback, Deshaun Watson. Then the run, the improbable part of the run. I figured at that point, okay, Jimmy G done won 2 straight. We're probably going to lose the next 2. We're probably not going to beat Tennessee. Tennessee's playing pretty hot right now, which at that time they were, and we're not going to end up beating. Who else was it? We're not going to end up beating Jacksonville. So not only does Jimmy G go ahead and lead us on a game-winning drive for a game-winning field goal for the Niners on a game-winning drive for a game-winning field goal against Tennessee at home. They then come back and throttle Jacksonville. Yes, they had to hold them off late with a late touchdown, so on and so forth. But that game was a lot further apart than what it looked. 11 points was decent, but that really should have been like a 17, 18-point game. So Jimmy G's impact has impacted both sides of the ball. Not only are the receivers playing better, they're playing a little bit more confident. The tight ends are playing better. The running backs are playing better. Everybody's playing with a little bit more confidence. And when you play with a little confidence, you play with a little swagger. When you play with a little swagger, that's how you're a quarter away to a win. So Jimmy G, I say please keep doing what you're doing. And I say to the Niners front office, John Lynch, Jay York, let's go get this man an offensive line. Let's go get him a weapon in the draft, and let's go compete for us a Super Bowl. That's been my lesson today. Hope y'all enjoyed. We're gonna take another commercial break and come back and talk some NCAA football right here on Double K's Classroom. Revolving Door episodes, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio. 4 Aces presents.
Tune in, folks. It's now time for Double K's Lesson of the Day.
Now, lastly, we take a look at one of the co-founders for 4 Aces, the Saint, and his group, The Collective, as they bring us MVT West and NVT Deuce. First up, we'll have MVT West.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody around the world, I welcome you to the season premiere and the Spreaker premiere of 4 Aces Presents Now versus Then West, where the West Coast has it in. My name is Christopher T. Williams, aka The Saint, and tonight on this premiere episode, we are going to be getting it in with the one and only first all-female hip hop group to ever exist in the history of hip hop, and I am talking about Cheryl the Pearl, Blondie, and Angie B, aka Angie Stone, and I am talking about the sequence. Tonight we're going to get an in-depth interview with these ladies. They are going to tell you their story from the beginning. They're going to let you know what it's.
Now, you can normally catch NVT West on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. The next show you can catch pretty much at random on any given night between 9 and midnight on the 4 Aces Presents Network, and that's NVT Deuce.
What's good with it, planet Earth? What's good with it? And you are tuned into the vibe. Welcome to 4 Aces Presents NVT Deuce. I'm your host of the evening. As always, I am the Saint, and tonight it's just another Saturday night conscious storm. It's a little breezy outside here in the great city of Sacramento, California, but we're going to do what we can to keep you warm if you're a little bit cold. And for those back east that are listening to us on the late night, we appreciate it and we welcome you to the vibe, as always. Tonight we're going to kind of mix it up a little bit with the music, but there are a couple of announcements that I'm going to be making.
All right, guys, so that'll do it. MVT Deuce, like I said, you can find them on random nights from Tuesdays to Saturdays to Thursdays. Just keep an eye out for MVT Deuce, MVT West, right here at the 4 Aces Presents Radio Network on Spreaker.com/user/4 Aces Presents. 12 different shows, one unique voice. I'm Double K. We'll catch you next time. Peace. All right. So that'll do it for our commercial breaks for today. We'll be running straight into the ending of the show here throughout all this. So what I'm going to be talking about here is the college football playoffs. We have 4 teams that are going to be competing. Like I said, I've made my pitch plenty of times. If you want to read it, go over Double K's Classroom blogspot.com and go read it and see what's up there. Let's see. It is Clemson and Alabama taking each other on in the rematch of the century from what was the game of the century last year. Like the game with Deshaun Watson before he left for the pros is just mind-boggling. Like he was an all-star. Like I said, he faced off against Alabama twice and beat them once, and won a national title out of it. You know, they play in the ACC, I believe, and that's not considered as strong of a conference as some of the rest of the conferences, but it's still a very strong, very, very strong conference. And so let me state right now, for the first time, I am surprised. For the first time since the inception of the college football playoff, a Pac-12 team, which is considered one of the Power 5 conferences, did not make it in. It was 2 SEC teams. They opted for 2 SEC teams, a Big 12 team, and an ACC team. So these are the type of combinations that we should expect to see from the committee. They're going to make their choices based off of who they think is the better matchups and who they think should be national title contenders. So the first up is Bama. Bama finished 11-1 this season. They did have the huge loss down the stretch to Auburn that left the Bama fans reeling as their team looked like they might not make the playoff. Their prize stud Jalen Hurts might not have done enough with 1,900 yards and 15 touchdowns to get them in. But alas, the College Football Committee made all right in the world of Saban and got them in barely by the skin of their teeth at 11-1 into that Sugar Bowl matchup. Yeah, into that Sugar Bowl matchup against number 1 Clemson. Now, Clemson, on the other hand, has been a team that has had to bounce back and has done a damn good job of it, finishing the season, I believe, 11-1, 12-1, 12-1 after winning the ACC championship over Florida State, I believe. Their primary quarterback was Kelly Bryant, who will probably start the game with 2,600 yards, 13 TDs, 8 interceptions. This team is very human, but they rely on the strength of their defense to get them through, and I think this should be another epic game between these two again this upcoming week. I believe this on the 1st in a couple of days. The other game is two teams that I know I didn't see coming, but both have finished 12-1. Oklahoma and Georgia out of the SEC. Georgia didn't even end up winning their division, but they end up getting into the college football playoff. Oh no, they won their division because they beat Auburn. Sorry, they sent Auburn home crying, and that's how they got in. So 12-1 Georgia taking on 12-1 Oklahoma. You got the Heisman Trophy winner, Baker Mayfield, probably a number 5 or 10 pick in the draft, that is leading Oklahoma to try to compete for its first national title in, I believe, like 15, 20 years. So keep an eye on that. Baker Mayfield taking on Georgia Bulldogs, 2 SEC teams. We could see a Bama-Georgia national championship game, and that wouldn't bother me, but we could not. So the other aspect of the college football season has now officially ended, and that is that we just have a list and strategy, or not strategy, but gauntlet of bowl games to get through. I personally play Capital One Bowl Mania on ESPN. I don't know if any of the rest of you do, but it's quite fun to play, I can tell you that. Talk louder? Sorry, man. I can try to turn it up, man. Sorry. Is that louder for you? So, so now that Cole has joined us, what's up, homie? Thank you for joining us. I play Capital One Bowl Mania. I'm sitting at 15 points, but definitely got more bowls wrong than right. Let's see. Let's take a look at my lineup and see what happened as we recap. What bowl scores there were. Let's go over the ones that I got right. I picked the North Carolina A&T Aggies over Grambling Tigers. Unfortunately, Grambling was damn good, but the Aggies were undefeated. I picked Troy over North Texas, and they blew them up 50-30. I picked Boise State over the Oregon Ducks, as much as I love Pac-12 teams winning. Warriors down 1 right now, 3 minutes left in the second quarter. I want to say, as much as I love Oregon teams or Pac-12 teams, I kind of just had this feeling. The winner, Mr. Sampson, Bowl Warrior, has 27 points, so I'm not catching him anytime soon. But let's see. I predicted the Florida Atlantic Owls over the Akron Zips, and they did do a good job beating their ass 50-3. The Ohio Bobcats over the UAB Blazers was a pick I made, 41-6. They mollywopped their ass. South Florida beat Texas Tech Red Raiders. Currently, the Pac-12 is, I believe, 1-3 in bowl games, and the one of the losses is the Stanford Cardinal, who had a heartbreaking loss last night to the TCU Bulldogs. Stanford was up big at a couple of different points and just unfortunately fell apart. So, it made for a very, very interesting. Let's move on down the list. Let's see. Kansas State beat UCLA. That was one of the losses, 35-17. Boston College beat Iowa Hawkeyes, 27-20. Navy mollywopped Virginia 49-7. Oklahoma State beat Vatech 30-21. And then, like I said, TCU beat Stanford. Washington State got mollywopped